York's classic rock, Q1043.
Good morning. And I am sitting next to a man I never thought in my life I would be sitting next to, and I'm so honored.
Oh, you poor misfortunate.
John Lydon.
Hello, boys and girls.
With me, who is the subject of a documentary that you can now see in theaters. The Public Image is Rotten, and it's directed by Tabbert Feeler, who is also with us. Now, John Lydon, of course, first came to fame to us in the United States as Johnny Rotten in the Sex Pistols. However, that said, Public Image Limited has been around 15 times longer than the Sex Pistols. And John Lydon, to me, is one of the fathers of punk. Just period, flat out. And in the movie, you see that said by Flea of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Ad Rock of the Beastie Boys, Thurston Moore, Moby, on and on and on. It's not just me. This is a legacy. So, first of all, welcome to all. And Tabbert, you're a member of a group yourself, but so you're a rocker, but you never directed a documentary. How did you get to do this documentary about John Lydon?
Well, I've been a cinematographer for a long time, so I've shot films. This is the first long one as a director.
Okay, but how did you get John, why did you agree to let Tabbert tell your story? You could have had anyone.
Oh,
You're John Lydon.
More or less, we did have anyone and everyone. It
Right.
took a real long time for this as a documentary to come together. The initial offer was something far different than I was expecting. And so many people came and went. It became like almost an enjoyable fiasco. And then Tabbert turns up and sorted it all out, basically. It is what it is. It's a fly on the wall kind of thing, but with a lot of talk, which I hope is relevant. And that was very hard for Tabbert to try and piece together, because some of the previous directors were, what we refer in Britain to as wankers.
Well, I didn't have the pleasure to know them, but I jumped at the chance to do it. Yeah.
But how much
it's like
now?
this. I never had to put any money into it, so whatever turns up, I'll have a look at it.
But you had to have the final say, right? I mean,
well, you'd be insane to give that away, wouldn't you? Because that's all you've got in this or any industry, really, is the value of your name and your reputation, and you cannot be throwing that around lightly. We live in an exaggeration clinic, the music industry, and I'd rather tell the truth, which is far more interesting, and that's what I think this documentary does. It's hilarious, and life really is hilarious.
And surprising.
And unpre-planned. No matter what plans you think you're making, the chaos will really be the enthusiasm in it. In the end, ultimately.
For our listeners, what about you, John Lydon, would most surprise them?
The weight I'm putting on lately. The stress is really killing me. But
what stress?
It's not just the work, but there's some personal family issues of illnesses that are really, really, really serious to me. I've got two brothers with cancer. I've got a wife now who's in at the mid stages of Alzheimer's. And
Your wife?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And I'm trying to jumble all that together while touring and promoting a docu. That's pretty much a lot of stress. So there it is. But basically, I'm a greedy pig and I like eating and drinking a lot.
Well, we all like eating, and a lot of us like drinking. What surprised me in the film, you talk about how you and your wife, and you've been with your wife a very, very long time.
Yes, my beautiful
It's been
Nora.
a very, very stable, long marriage, which might surprise some people right at the outset. But it also surprised me that early on you decided that you didn't want to have kids because you knew...
Well, we lost one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, see, so that affected everything. And then we decided that, we're both too selfish at that point, really, to be throwing a child into the middle of all of that. And so time then drifted on, and well, there were other children to look after too. There was Nora's daughter's kids, which came to live with us. So
and that was
the
how long ago?
family unit's always been. Oh, that's when they were 15, and that's a good 20, 25 years ago.
So, like, you became a parent
Accidentally, yeah.
but overnight.
But it's like something that I feel I was trained for anyway, because one of my jobs before the Pistols was looking after problem children. So, hello, Sex Pistols were obviously problem children. And anybody younger would do too for me. I'm a natural caregiver. I just can't help it.
Which is more satisfying personally, the music career or the parenting?
They're both about the same. Really, if you can balance it, really, it's to see an improvement in the people around you. And I hope that the influence you're having is positive. It's not always, you learn a lot about yourself when you put yourself in the responsibility of looking out for children. Oh, my gosh, yes, you're the first one to learn.
I am speaking with John Lydon of the Public Image Limited, PIL. So how ahead of his time was John Lydon before we were all using acronyms for everything? There was PIL.
Yes, there was, and still is.
How did you come up with that? How did you decide on the acronym?
Well, yes, PIL. I mean, it's a logo. I mean, I was looking at corporate thinking at that time, things like ICM. And I like the logo and the cold facelessness of it and the impersonality of it and the dictatorship behind it, very fascist symbols. And I thought, well, let's dismantle that somewhat and put a nice, brave, friendly face on it. Public Image Limited, PIL.
Like
there
I said,
go.
Ahead of his time. All right, let's go back in history a little bit, and because you are here in New York, you are here in our studios in New York, and you had a very famous concert, or infamous, however you would look at it, in New York with PIL, where you performed. It was at the Ritz, behind the curtain, never coming out to the audience, causing a riot.
Well, I've got no idea what was promoted beforehand, but I arrived from London that morning, and they were setting up cameras. The Ritz was really putting itself together at that time, and they knew we were fiddling about with camera technology, so they asked us would we do a show using just cameras. So that's what we agreed to. So the idea of the screen was that would be what the images of the cameras would project on, what was going on behind and in front. Everything was working fine. We used a drummer, actually, from the old drum store that used to be in Broadway, a very old man, and was playing the Flowers of Romance record, which skipped. And once that skipped, everything skipped with it.
Like we said, some surprises in life.
And if that was a riot, which people over the years have implied it is, then it was the mildest, softest, most gentlest riot I think the world's ever known. It was more like a carry-on movie. It was comedy.
But who has a concert and never comes out?
Well, there was no concert. I never said there was. It was messing about with cameras.
Yeah, but for the audience, what did they think they were coming to see?
Well, if they wanted to boo anyone, they should have booed the cameras, not us. We did no wrong.
However, we're still talking about it today. And what year was that?
God only knows. I mean,
in the 70s.
There's been so much in between.
That was 80.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
81,
Early
I think.
80s, very early 80s.
So tell us, John Lydon, what's happening with PIL now?
Well, we're touring and we're having a damn good time at it. But like I said, my candle's been burning both ends with all manner of issues. But the gigs are splendid. There's no doubts about that. There's a list of them here.
Okay.
But because I'm half blind with what they call floaters, yes, I need all those operations.
Cataracts.
I'm a bag of trouble, ain't I?
You want me to?
Yeah, if you,
All right.
yeah, would
All
you?
right. Okay.
I got out of that.
So let me see what are the closest ones. Okay. You will be performing with Pill in D.C. on the 12th of October. Oh, much closer to home. I got to go. You're coming to Asbury Park. I'm 2 towns away from Asbury Park.
Yes.
On the 13th at
Look
Asbury
out,
Lanes.
Springsteen.
Oh, my God. Have you been to Asbury Lanes back in the day when it was a bowling alley? And
I've actually played that club there too.
I'm sure you
that
have.
theatre, yeah.
Wait till you see Asbury
No,
Park.
it's hilarious because Bruce Springsteen apparently did turn up at our gig. And
At one of yours?
Yeah, and he was up in the balcony and somebody told me and I cracked one of my typical bad taste jokes and he was apparently mortally offended and left the building.
What did you say?
Well, I don't
Without
know.
cursing.
But something deeply unpleasant, no doubt, but meant with the greatest possible fun.
But was that when he was just coming to fame? Was he?
No, I don't know or care, really.
I know you don't.
It's just, it's just names trading, and that's what we do in our music industry, is we mock each other gently, and none of it's meant in any harm or hurt. That's media misinterpretations of us, We're a friendly bunch of sarcasm.
Also, Pill will be in Philly on October 16th at Union Transfer and closer to home in Brooklyn on Monday, October 15th at Brooklyn Steel. Oh, so I can't come?
Oh,
I could come? Or am I gonna tick off John Lydon?
No, I think
Because I don't want to do that.
I think we can squeak another one in.
We're talking about the documentary The Public Image is Rotten, which is now in theaters, directed by Tabert Fieler, who is also with us today. Is there anything you regret, John Lydon, over the years?
Yeah, I wish we got together with Tava earlier.
No.
And then you could have had a sequel by now.
Well, no, it would have just been like a much more like an easier ride. Because there was an awful lot of footage that was shot that was utterly pointless and opinionated in a very negative way by some of them prior directors. It was started out to be a friendly project, very quickly turned into a lot of egomaniacs trying to just tear us apart, really. I suppose it was because they were all part of that New York scene and viewed Pill as like, an enemy to that.
Well, I think it's like they wanted to concentrate on the first 3 records. And if you're making a movie, I don't think like you're making a movie about 3 records. 3 records are not a person that you can be interested in. Yeah. If you're interested in a person, you see their whole output, right? And then, that's what they're offering. So that's what you should take, not just 3 records that are, there's consensus from everyone that those are genius records. But, I want to see anyone else try to have like their 10th record be considered, groundbreaking.
Or to be doing this for so many years, so many decades. Not many people can say that.
What Tava's saying is it's utterly, completely disrespectful to try and condense my career into, say, 3 records here or 3 there. Because that's just not the way it is with me. I'm continuous.
We got to wrap up. Is there anything you haven't done, John Lydon, that you would like to do?
Oh, just the way we're doing it now. We're completely independent. We're outside of what we call the shitstorm.
There you did it. You cursed. Now I got to edit you, but go on. I'll do that.
And so we raise our money by live performance, and we raise then enough to record. And once we're recorded, release that, and then that gets the cycle stirring up again. And it's independent of the entire business, and I really feel healthy about that. It's very nice to have the safety net of large record companies behind you, but the damage they do to your career with the dictatorships and demands is really not worth it. And so I can live quite happily without their money, because it comes with such restrictions and restraints that it wouldn't be me anymore. And I've got to be me.
Oh, whoever thought we'd hear John Lydon sing that? Precious. Precious. Okay, we'll end on that note. John Lydon, thank you so much.
Peace.
Tabbert Feeler,
And if you don't
thank
like
you so
peace,
much.
you can peace off.
And the movie, the documentary, The Public Image is Rotten, in theaters now.
New York's classic rock, Q1043.